All right, now we are going to move on to the bottom half of our page. And the bottom half is converting improper fractions to mixed number fractions. So the top portion here goes over some of the steps. We have 17 over 5. So we first divide the numerator, which is 17, by the denominator, which is this. You can also set it up this way. For me, this is easier to visualize. So then I'd ask myself, 5 goes into 17 how many times? 3. And then 3 times 5 is 15, which gives me a remainder of 2. Then the 3 from this is your whole number, and the 2 is your new numerator, and then the parts of the whole, the denominator, is always the same. Then over here, we have our final answer. So we have 17 fifths is equal to 3 2/5. So again, let's go down here. Same idea with this example. So first, we're going to divide the numerator by the denominator, and then we'll ask ourselves, how many times can 3 go into 25? And that would be 8. 8 times 3 is 24, which gives us 1, or a remainder of 1. And then my 8 becomes my whole number, and my remainder becomes my new numerator, and then the denominator stays the same. So let's continue on over here. So first I'm going to set up my division sign. My numerator is here, so we're dividing the numerator by the denominator. And so I ask myself, how many times does 10 go into 24? I can put 2 10s into 24 with a little bit of leftover. So 2 times 10 is 20. And I have 4 left over. So that's my remainder. So the whole number becomes my whole number in my mixed number. My remainder becomes my new numerator. And then my denominator stays 10. I could further take this down and into a simpler fraction by dividing by my 1 into my fraction. So my 2 2/5 would be in simplified form. All right, moving on here. 58 divided by 9. We could do 9 can go into 58 6 times, which would give us 54, which would leave 4 remaining. So our whole number would be our 6, with a remainder of 4 over our original parts in our whole. Then down here, I ran out of space. So we would have 21 divided by 2. And I'd ask myself, how many times can 2 go into 21? And I can go, actually I can go like 1 and 0, because I can make 20. With 1 left over. So I have 10 remainder 1. So my big number would be a 10, and then I would have 1, my remainder, over my original parts in my whole. Over here, our numerator, 77, divided by our denominator, which is 8. And then I'll ask myself, how many times can 8 go into 77. I'm not quite at that 10, I'm not quite at that 80, so I know that it would be 9. And then 9 times 8 is 72. Getting really tiny, which would give me a remainder of 5. So then my whole number is my 9. And then my new numerator is my remainder over my original parts of my whole. And then finally, we have 28ths. So I'm going to see how many times 8 can go into my numerator, which is twice, which would give me 16. And that's 4 left over. So my big whole number would be 2. My remainder is my new numerator, and then 8 is my denominator. And similarly to number 1, I can reduce this fraction by dividing both numbers by 2. So I'd get 2. My whole number stays the same. And 2/8. Oh, I just realized instead of dividing by 2, I can do 4 because they can both be divided by 4, and that would give me 1/2. So if you still have questions, please either rewatch the video or come talk to me.